1974. Why not one more year? No, not one more year. This year I'm going to graduate. 1974, I'm going to graduate as a junior. But why? What's your rush, you darn fool? Well, geez, Dad, you know what I've done. You see, for the last 2 years, I took home ec. I got a lot of kidding, but I've learned a lot about cooking. Since I was 14 and had a work permit, I'd been working in restaurants. Now I could be a cook. And I did. I did graduate. I took enough credits, you could back then in Maine. I took enough credits so I could graduate as a junior, 18 years old. My first summer at a restaurant as a cook, not a dishwasher. It was an eye-opening experience. You see, it was an Italian restaurant called Il Giardino, the garden. And it was eye-opening very first because some of the women that worked there, they were putting pots up, and all of a sudden I saw this growth under their arms. I'd never seen that before. And the son said, oh, that's natural. All Italian women don't shave their arms. Oh. I also learned some fun things. I learned about al dente, that the spaghetti's just right, and I still cook good spaghetti. I really enjoyed my job, and I made a lot of money as a cook, a lot more than as a dishwasher. But you know what? Just like school starts, work ends. And in the fall, I had no job. And, I didn't want my dad to think that I was a darn fool. There I was, graduated and had no future. I had to think of something. My friend, Ron Yates, he and I decided that we would move to Boston because we heard in Boston you made really good money as a cook. We found a place to stay. It was near Boston, so it wasn't as expensive. It was some place called Revere. And we stayed at a cottage that in the summertime they charge a lot of money, but in the winter they only charge a lot of money. And there's a place near there on the beach called Kelly's. Thank God, because those French fries are about all I could afford to eat, The money was good, but I didn't realize how expensive it would be to live there. As a matter of fact, we were only able to stay there for like 2 months. I had to borrow money from my brother just so that we could get out of there without being in debt. And about that time, I was really desperate. I went to see an Air Force recruiter. And he said that he would contact me if, I get an appointment for a physical, and I didn't think anything of it. We moved home after Emery gave me the money for the apartment. And I kind of felt bad living on Dad's income, because I guess I was a darn fool. And all of a sudden I get a call. And it was on a snowy night, like the ones we've had recently, here in Maine, where you get that snow that comes really quick and catches you off guard. And the recruiter said, hey, I got an appointment for your physical. It's tomorrow. I didn't have a ride, so I had to hitchhike. So the best thing I could do is my dad had some fire boots, the ones with the loops on them that you pull up, those big honking clam hotter type fire boots. I had those in a Parker, and I put it on and I hitchhiked to Boston. I got down there in time, and I had my physical, and I passed my physical, and I wanted to be a cook, but they said I'd be a better medic. That's another story. You can see the video on that one. But I went ahead, and I was pretty excited that I passed the physical. And I said, well, when do I join? He said, the bus leaves today around 5 o'clock. I said, well, wait a minute. You mean I don't go home? No, you start today. You'll leave around 5. I said, my folks didn't know. Can I make a phone call? And they let me make a phone call. So I went ahead. Really, already? I went ahead and I made a phone call. And I told my mom that I had gotten in the Air Force. And she said, well, what time are you coming home for dinner? And I said, about 6 weeks. Well, they sent me out the next day. And when I arrived, they told us on the bus, be really careful of those TIs because they look at people that really look innocent looking and they give them a hard time the rest of the 6 weeks training. And guess who hopped off in a Parker and fire boots? Me. You know what? My dad was right. I was a darn fool, but I learned a lot from the old man, and I'm really glad that we became the best of friends for the rest of our lives. Thank you.